If Prince Harry still had his job as a working royal, he would get all the special things that come with that high rank. Because he belongs to a very famous family, there are rules about who gets help and who does not. Since he stopped doing that job, he does not get those things automatically anymore. A long time ago, a special trust fund was set up to last for 80 years. It was filled with millions and millions of pounds to make sure the boys would always have what they needed. At first, the plan was for Harry and William to have every part of royal life. But now, those official royal duties are over for Harry. Their life together had to change, and it seems like Harry is feeling very, very sad about it. He used the word gutted to describe how he feels, which means he feels like his heart has been kicked. Those 3 words are starting to make a lot more sense to everyone watching. Right now, there are huge reports everywhere on the internet. These stories claim that Prince Harry has lost the right to use the money his mother left for him. This is the money that Princess Diana left specifically to keep him safe. People are shocked because it seems like Diana knew this would happen. She left behind clues and warnings that no one really paid attention to back then. Now Meghan is at the middle of all this drama. People are picking sides, and they are asking if this is what Diana said would happen many years ago. Let's look closer at that moment when Harry said he was gutted. He truly believed that things would work out better than they did. He thought he would still be able to have his royal life and his new life at the same time. You can hear how disappointed he is in his voice. It is the kind of sad feeling you get when you think something good is going to happen and then it just disappears. Royal money and family secrets are usually kept behind big, heavy doors. People talk about them in private rooms where no one can hear. Usually these things do not fall apart where the whole world can see them, but this time it is happening right in front of us. There are reports saying Harry might have lost his whole inheritance. This was the money Diana saved to be his safety net. It was supposed to catch him if he ever fell. Suddenly, everyone is remembering a very scary warning that Diana gave a long time ago. It is almost like she could see into the future. It is up to you to decide if this situation is just awkward or if it is something much bigger. Prince Edward even tried to help by making small talk, but the insiders are still talking about the big problem. Now, people who know a lot about the royal family are sharing their ideas. They are looking at the story from every side to see what is real and what is just a rumor. It is hard to know the truth when there is so much noise and so many stories. You cannot talk about this without mentioning Meghan's name. People are putting her right in the middle of this big storm. Some people say she is being treated unfairly and that it is not her fault. Other people are pointing their fingers at her and saying she is the reason for the trouble. This debate has become so big that it is in the news all over the world. It is amazing how fast a story like this can spread. Some people even say that Princess Diana had more history in her family than the Queen did. One day everything is quiet, and the next day everyone has an opinion. Somewhere in the middle of all the shouting, the real story is trying to be heard. The biggest question is whether Diana actually knew her son would end up in this exact spot. It is a very heavy thing to think about. A mother's warning about her son's future is the kind of thing that makes everyone stop and listen. Let's think about how these stories grow. They usually start with something very small. Then, as people tell the story over and over, they add their own ideas and theories. Pretty soon, the story looks totally different from how it started. We need to look at what Diana really said. We need to find out what she was truly worried about. How did Harry end up here? We need to understand the real part Meghan played, not just the stories in the magazines. An inheritance is supposed to protect someone for their whole life. It is like a shield. But for Harry, that shield stopped working the way it was supposed to. Something definitely changed. The question we are all asking is whether things happened exactly the way Diana feared, or are we watching a different story that no one expected? It is possible that Prince Harry has lost his connection to the money his mother left him. This makes people think about that chilling warning from a long time ago. The truth is, there wasn't one big explosion that ruined everything. There was no big news flash on TV that said everything was gone. It happened very slowly, like a toy losing its color in the sun. It faded away bit by bit until it was too late to fix. Diana's money for Harry was never just about having a big pile of cash. She wanted him to have a life that was stable and private. She wanted him to be safe for a long, long time. The money was supposed to stay quietly in the background. It was like a secret helper that did its job without anyone noticing. This protection worked because it stayed out of the bright lights of fame, but there was a rule for this setup. It only worked if Harry lived a certain kind of life. He had to stay private and follow certain family rules. When he tried to get a piece of the king's billion-pound fortune, it started a very bitter fight. For a long time, the plan actually worked. The money did exactly what it was meant to do. It was there whenever he needed it, and most people didn't even know it existed. But then things started to shift. The moment Harry walked away from the world Diana had built for him, the foundations started to break. His new life in America was not steady. It was full of surprises and changes. A system that needs things to stay the same cannot survive when everything is moving. Decisions started to be about being seen instead of staying private. There were loud fights instead of quiet talks. Everything was about right now instead of waiting for later. With every one of these choices, the protection that kept the money safe started to wear away. It was like watching layers of a coat being taken off in the cold. People started to realize that Harry didn't really have access to the help he used to have. It wasn't just about the cash. He lost the power and the safety that the money was supposed to bring him. He became more public and the protection got weaker. What used to keep his future safe was now powerless. The hardest part of this story is that no one took the money away from him by force. No one locked him out of a room or stole his bank card. The inheritance didn't disappear because he was being punished by a judge. It slipped away slowly because of the choices he made. Every step probably felt like a good idea at the time. He might have thought he was doing the right thing, but all those steps together led him onto a path that was too far away from his mother's legacy. Technically, the money is still there, but it can't guard him anymore. It can't help him in the world he lives in now. Meghan did not come into his life with a secret plan to ruin everything. That isn't what happened. But she did have a very different way of looking at the world. Diana wanted things to stay quiet and hidden to keep her son safe from the public. Meghan believed in being seen and being independent. She wanted to tell her own story and take control. On paper, that sounds like a good thing, but these two ways of living were never going to get along. Meghan's idea of power was all about speaking out. She didn't want to keep things inside. She encouraged Harry to talk about all the things that had been bothering him for a long time. She told him to stand up to the people he thought were wrong. She wanted him to take back his life from the systems that had been running it since he was a baby. From one side, this looks like freedom. It looks like being honest and brave, but there was a hidden problem. Diana's legacy was not built to handle everyone looking at it all the time. It needed things to stay steady and calm. It needed to be far away from public fights. As Harry and Meghan left their royal lives, the change was impossible to miss. When he left the royal family, he also left the safety net that had been around him his whole life. This net protected his money, his name, and his security. All of that started to fall away. People say he has been cut out of a secret inheritance from his mother. Meghan liked the choices that brought their fights into the open. They did big TV interviews and told secrets that the public had never heard. They made deals to sell Harry's story. Each move got a lot of attention and sometimes made them money. But these moves also destroyed the quiet world that his inheritance needed. A big turning point happened when they started using their royal names to make money. By selling their private stories to the world, Harry crossed a line that he can't go back over. What used to be a private family matter was now mixed up with business deals and what everyone on the internet thought. Diana's inheritance was never meant for that kind of life. It was made to protect a son who stayed out of the spotlight. It was not meant to help a life full of constant attention and arguing. As that line got blurry, the protection around Harry got weaker and weaker. It didn't happen all at once and no one made a big announcement. The money just became harder to use. He had less control. What was left was a lot of wealth but no shield to protect it. An inheritance is more than just numbers in a bank account. It is about trust and having things you can count on. Those things cannot survive when they are under a lot of stress from the public. Meghan's influence didn't just delete the money, but it changed Harry's life so much that the money couldn't do its job. She helped him move into a world where Diana's safeguards couldn't follow. Diana's biggest fear was never really about the palace or the royal rules. She wasn't worried about the fancy titles or the way the monarchy worked. She knew about those things and she knew how to plan for them. What really made her nervous was something much deeper. She was worried about Harry's heart. He was a boy who was very open with his feelings. He wanted to feel a real connection with people. He tended to trust people with everything he had, and he didn't ask enough questions. Diana had learned the hard way how power and fights work. She had been through a lot of pain and had everyone watching her. When she looked at Harry, she didn't see a prince who would be defeated by a system. She saw a boy who might give up his safety if it meant he could keep a relationship he cared about. She was afraid he would choose love over being safe without even knowing he was doing it. She worried that he would mistake feeling close to someone for actually being in a safe place. Diana admired how warm and trusting Harry was. She loved those things about him, but they also made her scared. She knew how easily a charming person could make someone lower their guard. She knew that feeling supported can make you stop asking important questions. In Diana's world, the most dangerous times weren't when people were being mean. They were the times when things felt comfortable and happy. She was terrified that Harry would think that emotional closeness meant he was totally safe. She feared he would overlook the bad things that could happen because he felt so connected to someone. Her worry wasn't about a big betrayal from a stranger. She was afraid that Harry might be led very gently and lovingly into making choices that would break down his protections. Diana understood that love can change what you think is important. The desire to belong and be understood can be much stronger than the need to stay safe. She lived through that herself. Emotional influence can be much more powerful than any boss or king because it doesn't feel like pressure. It just feels like love. Diana's private thoughts showed a mother who saw a choice coming for her son long before it happened. She believed Harry would eventually have to pick between being careful and being connected. He would have to choose between the safety net his family built and a life driven by his feelings. Her fear wasn't about one specific person. It was about the way Harry was born to be. She thought he would always put people and relationships first. And in a world where your legacy depends on staying quiet and holding back, that choice would be very expensive. As Harry's life went on, the things Diana worried about started to happen. The choices he made to find love and be understood looked exactly like the future she had imagined. It wasn't a big disaster caused by enemies. It was a slow change brought on by trust and being close to someone. He believed that being honest about his feelings would be enough to keep him safe, but it wasn't. The king even stopped to look at the documents and whispered about how sad it was. Long before any of this was obvious to the world, Diana had been leaving small clues. She had little worries that she couldn't get rid of. These weren't big predictions she told the news. They were in the letters she wrote when she was alone. They were in the talks she had with her best friends. She kept coming back to these worries whenever she talked about her youngest son. At the time, she just sounded like a normal mom who was a little bit anxious. Any parent might worry like that. But now, those worries look like she could see the future. Even though Harry and Meghan quit being senior royals, they still have a lot of people talking about them. Diana never talked about the future like it was written in stone, but she dropped hints all the time. She saw a future where Harry might end up all by himself. He might be cut off from his family and the safety that was supposed to be with him forever. In her writings, she talked about how fragile protection really is. It can slip away so easily if you think you just deserve it without working for it. She didn't think the money was a prize for being a prince. She thought it was a shield that only worked if you were very careful. Diana thought that a safety net could turn into something dangerous if you weren't responsible. What started as a small worry has now become a real problem. Diana's secret is not hidden anymore. She used to talk about how being in the news all the time can change a person. It can mess with your brain and make it hard to make good choices. She was worried that Harry's open heart would make him think that getting attention was the same as being supported. She didn't think all outsiders were bad, but she thought that losing your privacy was a real issue. When your private life belongs to everyone else, your protection gets weak. Decisions that should be made with caution start being made with big emotions instead. Diana believed the inheritance was meant to keep Harry steady. It wasn't supposed to make him take big risks. She saw a future where having all that money might actually make him take more chances instead of playing it safe.